Hi everyone. In this video of Accelerated Chess Dragon, we're going to be looking at a game played between Judith Polgar and Ferenc Berks. This was played in the 2003 Hunguist Hotels Super in Budapest, Hungary. And without further ado, let's look at this game. Polgar starts off by playing e4 and Berks plays e6. And we have d4 and d5. So far it's the French defense, and after knight c3, knight f6, bishop g5, we have the classical variation, d takes e4, knight takes e4, and bishop e7. Polgar here plays bishop takes f6, and bishop takes f6 by Berks. And Berks could have actually just played the move g takes f6, which is another common move in the French defense, instead of playing bishop takes f6, but bishop takes f6 it is. Knight f3, castles, and queen d2. And this signals already that Polgar wants to get a kingside attack. And she wants to castle queenside, develop her pieces, play g4, h4, g5, h5, etc. And she wants to get an attack as soon as possible. So Berks develops with his knight, queenside castle, bishop e7, bishop d3. And it looks like everything is pointed towards Berks' king, and he's soon going to get a lot of pieces against him. So b6, and now knight e to g5. Obviously, there's a threat of bishop takes h7 check now, so h6. G6 could also have been played, but this would just make more holes in the position than there already are, so that's why h6 is played. And after h6, we have bishop h7 check, and after king h8, the bishop retreats back. And here we have h takes g5. And this is quite interesting, because Berks is actually sacrificing an exchange. Because after h takes g5 is played, Polgar could have just captured the rook on a8, but she instead decided not to. She played g4. Capturing the rook on a8 could maybe lead to something very good, but Polgar doesn't want to have to face something like g4. And this is the main reason why she didn't accept the rook. Because after g4, you have to move this queen. If you move the knight, say, to e5, then after bishop to g5, you lose your queen. f4, g takes f3, you can't block anymore, so you lose your queen. So that's why after bishop takes a8 and g4, you must move the queen, say to e2. And after g takes f3, let's say bishop takes f3, even after king g8, and the fact that the h-file is completely torn open, black is still considered to be better here. And that's because he has a way of trying to patch the position up with bishop g5 and bishop h6. And even though this does look very dangerous for black, it's not as dangerous as it seems. So, instead of capturing the rook on a8, Polgar decides to play g4 herself. And now, of course, there are no ideas of g4 by black, so she can freely now continue her attack. Rook b8, h4, and now g6. And here, Polgar plays h takes g5 check, and the position is already way too opened up, so now we just need to see how Polgar punishes Berks. Berks just plays king to g7, and he tries to keep his king as safe as possible, but we'll see that's not as easy as it seems. So here, Polgar plays queen f4. And here after queen f4 was played, here Berks made a big mistake. It's hard to say what you can really do here as black, because there's absolutely no way of seeing how you can defend. If you try bishop d6, then after knight e5, then the knight has gotten into the position, and it's very hard to get it out. For instance, if you try maybe bishop takes e5, then after d takes e5, you've just established a very strong square for this queen to land on later on, and it doesn't seem like it's very easy to get any piece out. I mean, this position is very cramped, and I don't see any way that black can actually make it any better. So that is the struggle that black is facing at the moment. But after bishop b7, Polgar finds a very nice crushing move. And I encourage you to pause the video and find this move. So Polgar played the move rook h7 check. And after this move's played, Berks is completely lost. He plays king takes h7, hoping that maybe there is some way of surviving. But after queen h2 check, this has already gone too far. Berks cannot try this move king g7, because if he does this, then after queen h6 check, king g8, the rook comes to h1. The entire point of king g7 is that if you play rook h1 now, then after rook h8 there's an opportunity to trade the rooks, and you have a position where you are not as bad, and you're even winning as black. Unfortunately, queen h6 check would be played in that scenario, and after all of this, there's no way to stop checkmate anymore. And unfortunately, if you tried this king g8 move, which was played in the game, then after rook h1, now Polgar is simply winning. Bishop takes g5 check, knight takes g5, queen takes g5 check. And here, if Polgar had just played the move king to b1, then there would actually have been a chance of Burke surviving. He could play king g7, and after bishop takes b7, rook takes b7, he has this f6 square for him to vacate to. And after this, then we're definitely not going to see a win for white, even though white sacrificed the rook and a piece to open up the position. So that is why Polgar played f4, and now, of course, there's a forcing move. Now, of course, you have no way of defending both h7 and h8 with either this queen or this knight on d7. So that is why this made Burke's resort to desperate moves. He played queen takes f4 check, and after queen takes f4 by Polgar, bishop takes e4. Polgar simply just captured the bishop on e4, and after this move was played, Burke's resigned. So I hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you have any suggestions or feedback for me, please let me know in the comment section, and stay tuned for more chess.